to Maverick Mindcast. I'm rolling solo today, so I'm really excited to be with you guys. Reminder, if you like what you're here, be sure to hit the like button and share with your friends. We're here to share fearless truth in pursuit of fearless freedom, and that's the best way to do it, sharing the information and stimulating the discourse. So, I've had a lot on my mind lately, but I do want to talk about the budding movements like of people that are awakening with everything that's been going on since 2020. I certainly count myself as one of those folks who did awaken once the whole COVID pandemic was foisted upon us. Prior to that, I never really thought about the nature of our reality or what's really going on because for the most part, I felt I operated my life untethered to any constraints and could do what I wanted. Sounds selfish, but it just is what it is. Once I started to realize that things weren't what I believed they were, I started to uncover different things and seek out new sources of information. And one of the best places, if not the best place that I found this information was through conspiracy researchers. I do not use the word conspiracy theorists or conspiracy theories because, that's a CIA term. And as far as I'm concerned, it trivializes the work of these great researchers who have brought so much truth to light so early on. So I don't use that term. But I was in a conference 2 weekends ago, and it was primarily around saving our kids from the public education system and the indoctrination programs that they are currently intensely enduring. This is something I staunchly stand behind. I feel at this point in time, most people should just pull their kids out. I know easier said than done, and homeschool them because of the dangers they face on a day-to-day basis and the deception, I feel, of the administrators, school boards, and what they tell parents they are or are not doing, regardless of whether they protest or want to dig deeper into what the real truth of the matter is. We can see all of this unfolding with the gender identity and changing transgender topics that are really hot right now. We can see that with most of these younger kids not loving their own country and feeling that nationalism is a horrible thing and racist. We can see this with the climate change agenda and kids feeling like their planet is gonna, I don't know what they think is going to happen, but they think in what we have a 10, 12 years, we're not going to have a planet. And, it's sad to me because I didn't grow up this way. And I know a lot of my contemporaries didn't either. But as I'm sitting in these, let me get back on track, as I'm sitting in these seminars and a lot of these wonderful speakers, a lot of educators, psychologists are talking about exactly what's going on in the classroom, how these plans or this indoctrination is being perpetuated, how they're going about breaking it down to the youngest of our kids who are just starting out, have no clue what's going on in the world. It's funny because I'm sitting next to some parents and just generally concerned citizens, and they see it, but they don't see the full picture. And that's where I've turned around and said to a couple of friends of mine as we were listening that, geez, if everybody just opened their mind a bit to conspiracy research, they would be able to connect the dots better and feel and react in a less bewildered manner. That's one thing I want to just say. I'm so appreciative to our forefathers, so to speak, the conspiracy researchers who have for decades been uncovering these truths and lifting the veil off of the reality of what the government is, what public education is, of what our health system is. All of these different institutions of power that virtually control our lives and our freedoms have been uncovered for a long time now, have been exposed, have been broken down. They've done all the hard work for us. They've connected all the dots. But because of the stigma of conspiracy theories and tinfoil hats, a lot of really smart critical thinkers out there, I guess, would identify more on the conservative side. I don't know. I don't like to really stereotype people or label people, but it seems to be like the loudest emerging group, so to speak, of people are conservatives. I see this with the Daily Wire. I mean, I even see Michael Knowles now actually had one brief commentary on YouTube. Alex Jones is right again. You can see Tucker Carlson on Fox News actually acknowledging, praising Alex Jones, defending his freedom of speech. But what I would really love to see more of is less of the sensationalistic side of it. And, such and such got pulled off of Twitter and banned here and banned there. And just more of a general acceptance or openness, receptiveness to conspiracy researchers. I mean, when I listen to their work, Jordan Maxwell, Alex Jones, of course, my favorite's David Icke. I mean, just reading some of his books, he virtually predicted, not predicted, but he uncovered through his research a plan for a flu pandemic, for a forced vaccination, for FEMA camps. I mean, this book alone, I'll just show for those who are watching and not just listening, Human Race Get Off Your Knees, details an agenda from the 1960s where a pediatrician spoke to a room full of doctors and told them they were not allowed to take notes, although one of them did, and talked about in the 60s, the internet, talked about there being no longer being any genders, talking about human reproduction not being a thing anymore. That this is not something new. And it's been uncovered a long time ago. We see all the political relations, the consolidation of power through certain organizations, Bohemian Grove, all these things. So it's super important that we keep open minds. I mean, I do realize I would be remiss if I didn't admit that most people who are listening to this right now are probably already on board with this. And maybe my efforts are in vain since a lot of people already understand this. Most of my audience understands this, but if not my audience, then their friends, their family, because I definitely made it a point when I was at this conference, when I was next to a friend or someone I knew and we were listening to the content, like say about transgenderism and pushing that on children, or gun violence and permitting that in the schools and not setting up the right protection, I'm quick to interject to them, like, yeah, doesn't this seem bewildering? Why would they do this? And then I think to, another thing David Icke said, problem, reaction, solution. This is all in line with that. This is exactly the agenda. This is exactly the blueprint. This is what they keep foisting upon us time and time and time again, for who knows how many years this has been going on. So it's just so important. And I think more people are receptive, really, because they're just looking for answers and they're trying to figure out how can we stop this and what can we do. But to me, it's critical that to grasp the gravitas of all of what's going on, to really understand how nefarious this goes, how evil this runs, you have to know the conspiracy research aspect of it to connect all of the dots, because it all connects. It seems like it doesn't, because the way it's presented in the media, even in the alternative media, most of them just take issue by issue. They kind of make fun of it. They belittle the politicians or institutions of power that are pushing for it. They do undermine it intellectually, but they don't create that holistic picture. And that's when I have to say for myself, my revelation came to pass. I read this book, Human Race, Get Off Your Knees. And this book was written, I believe, in 2009, 2010. I read it in 2020 and could not believe I think it's actually more interesting to read these things after, significant time after they've been published, because you can really see how prophetic. And once again, I want to reinforce, I don't mean that these researchers are clairvoyant. They're simply just doing the work. They're asking the questions. They're finding the sources. They're looking at history. They're connecting the dots through hard work and research. It's crazy how prophetic their work has come to pass. And I wish, sometimes it's a hard sell with the 700-page book, but I have shared passages with my friends, and that's been like the next step to them saying, what book is that? Send me the link. I want to order that. I have shared tidbits of information, video clips, doesn't matter. I feel like it's so important right now because we're at that critical time where so many people are awakening, but they're still confused. They're still bewildered. They're still not connecting the dots. They're still not understanding the full plan that lies ahead and how it all connects. So I think it's really important that we make sure we share that information because, we're researchers in our own right, and we're reading this stuff, we're consuming this material, we are generating content. Some of you may even have your own podcasts or, your own web pages or channels. And so it's really important. And I know it's a delicate subject because a lot of people still, like I said before, think the tinfoil hat aspect. So they immediately disregard or poo-poo any relevancy that it could have. But as we're getting down the path, further down the line, and things are getting crazier and crazier, it's becoming indisputable that there's something more going on than what's on the surface. There's a lot going on, and people are getting that gnawing feeling inside, like everything is not all right. And I'm confused, but I know enough to know that everything is not all right, and there's a bigger plan at hand. And the people who are telling me to trust them are probably the last people I should trust. So I feel like that would be the best way to get them over the line of just taking a stance from a political perspective, changing a political party, which we all know doesn't accomplish much, or just taking on one aspect of the agenda and allowing themselves to put the tinfoil hat on and then try to decode. So yeah, that was something that came to mind. And I just thought, wow, even if minds like Tucker Carlson or some of the Daily Wire folks would just be a little bit more open to that aspect of, conspiracy researchers, they would probably feel a lot more reassured on their stances and their instincts that something is horrifically wrong. What do you guys think? I'm curious to know. Definitely leave a comment, drop me a line. I'd love to know more about it. That's really why this show started, because I wanted to be able to ask the questions to the great minds who have been out there fighting the good fight, doing all the hard work, uncovering all this information, this wealth of knowledge that is hidden from us, whether it's from secret societies, occult forces, you name it, they've been doing all the work. And I just think it's so important that people are exposed to this, understand it, have some understanding. Hey, they may not go down the 700-page route, but they might start looking at interviews or consuming some kind of content around conspiracy research. Well, that's all I have for today. It was great talking to you guys one-on-one. I look forward to making more of these. For the next show, I am supposed to have, I don't even want to say it because I don't want to jinx it, but Alex Stein on. He had agreed to come on this week. I know he's super busy. I will say, whoever's listening, that give the little guys a shot too. We're not so bad. We know how to ask those questions. And we are, we may not have a huge platform, but we love the work and we love to engage and share it with the world. So I'll keep you guys posted, but that is supposed to be the next interview. Otherwise, I will start doing more of these solo podcasts because I love talking to you guys and I love sharing ideas and I hope you enjoy it. Once again, like I said, if you do enjoy it, hit the like button, share, subscribe. I'll take all the love. I appreciate it. It's my pleasure bringing you guys great content and uncovering different crazy aspects of life and examining them a little closer. Thanks for joining and have a great day. Bye, guys.